The sign here, the sign on this cap.
Let me tell you a story about this sign. When the Lagos State governorship election was conducted on January 9, 1999, Tinubu was declared the winner. Could you notice that on the day he was swearing in his commissioners and special advisors, there was no such sign on his cap?
Now, I present with confidence my honorable commissioners and other members of my formidable team. They are all men and women of integrity, proving competence and goodwill.
Then some years later, this sign emerged. And in every public appearance, Bola Ahmed Tinubu carries with him a mystery. It rests not in his word, nor in his politics, but in the fabric of his attire, his cap, a Yoruba filler, bearing an unusual stitch, a mark that provoked many whispers for decades. Some said it looked like the number 8, the sign of infinity. Others claim it resembled the ancient symbol of power, even the occult, but Tinubu himself offers a different meaning. So there are two parts to the story of his cap and the sign. The first one started in 1993 under the watch of General Ibrahim Babangida. Nigeria has suffered years of military rule. Coups and counter-coups had turned politics into theater, and citizens had grown weary of military regimes that promised order, national growth, economic empowerment, but delivered fear and gloom.
We don't want to fight anybody here at all. We need peace here.
Which were annulled by the military after the People's Choice, Mashoud Abiola, appeared to win.
Babangida, the general known as the Maradona of Nigerian politics for his cunning footwork, had promised a transition to democracy.
You are all aware of the circumstances which led to the change in the leadership of the government of this country, and I need not to repeat it here.
Then on June 12, 1993, Nigeria held its first general election, one which would later be remembered as the fairest and furious election in the history of the country. The candidate at the center of it all was Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, MKO, whom many believed as the winner of the election because of the wide acceptance of his candidacy. Babangida would later annul the election, citing electoral irregularities.
Presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral malpractices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
But because of protests that erupted throughout the country and pressures from several heads of state and international community, Babangida could not manage the outcome of his decision. So Babangida stepped down as the head of state and appointed Ernest Shonikon to be the interim head of state. But just 83 days after Shonikon took over, Abacha took power from Shonikon through a coup and dissolved everything about the interim government.
The following decisions come into immediate effect. The interim national government is hereby dissolved. The national and state assemblies are also dissolved. The state executive councils are dissolved. The brigade commanders are to take over from the governors in their states until administrators are appointed. Where there are no brigade commanders, the commissioners of police in the states are to take over. The National Electoral Commission is hereby dissolved. All processions, political meetings, and associations of any type in any part of the country are hereby banned.
And Abacha banned every political activity. No political parties, no political association, and any meeting involving some group of persons can be termed a political gathering, and the people involved will be arrested and persecuted. Abacha was ruthless. During his regime, he also dissolved the Senate. The National and State Assemblies were also dissolved, and Tinubu was a senator then, and many other political figures like Abraham Adesanya, Anthony Anariro, Ayo Adebanjo, Gani Fayemiwa, and many others. But they could not do much to stop Abacha. The implication was that there will not be any court to grant you freedom if Abacha decides to deal with you. So most activists and politicians went into hiding, including Tinubu and Wole Soyinka.
As I've been saying just now, Abacha never governed the country. Yes, he terrorized the country. He bullied the country. He had power. He had no authority. He was able to torture. He was able to kill. He was able to take hostages. But he never governed the country because the people were not willing to be governed by a brute. The people were sick of military dictatorship. So it's up to the military to recognize this and up to the international community to say that we're sick and tired of the degeneration of a potentially great society.
So after 1 year of waiting, because Abiola thought that somehow Abacha might succumb to international pressure and relinquish power and hand over power to the rightful elected official, which was himself. But that never happened. Abacha was adamant. With several sanctions from the West and other countries, Abacha literally told everyone to go to hell. When Abiola saw that waiting will not solve anything, he went to Ekpetedo and held a press conference, and there he declared himself winner of the June 12, 1993 general elections and went into hiding.
Assuming there was good faith on the part of government, all matters relating to the election should have gone to the tribunal set up by law for such cases and should only have been initiated by persons or bodies that had genuine interest in the election. Instead, we are being told that the judiciary behaved so badly that I, Moshood Kashima Wolawale Abiola, should be penalized for his conduct. It is incredible. In view of all this, I find the conclusion unfortunate but inescapable that the federal military government is guilty of bad faith, pure and simple. No one has accused me of any offense against any known electoral law or regulation. The people of this country went to polls on Saturday, June 12, 1993, and without let or hindrance chose me as their president. Didn't they?
But he couldn't hide for long because Abacha instructed the military to hunt him down. And then he was later captured by Abacha and he was in prison for treason.
At your house, are you being arrested?
I'm being arrested. I'm just going out now with the police.
Why are they arresting you?
They are arresting me on an allegation of felony, nameless treason or something like that. They're not doing anything. They're just taking me away. Please let me go. I'm delaying them.
Abacha was furious and decided to deal mercilessly with Abiola.
That in spite of these overtures and good gestures by government, Chief MKO Abiola flagrantly perpetuated acts which breached the laws of the land, but government in its magnanimity never gave him serious attention. His most recent action of declaring himself the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria incited the public to insurrection and attempting to topple the government by force with a view to installing himself as president, however led to his arrest by the law enforcement agents.
While in prison, Abiola was still fighting to claim his mandate. He believed he won the election and should be declared the president. And then, every politically conscious Nigeria stood up against Abacha, not just because he banned every political parties. He also arrested those who were against his takeover of power. And if they allow him to get away with all these things, it means nobody can speak against his government. So a group of people came together in May 1994 and secretly formed a coalition known as NADECO, National Democratic Coalition. Among the founders include Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Anthony Enaro, Wole Soyinka, Chukwuemeka Ezefe, Chief Bola Ige, and hundreds of other members. They all worked in different capacities in the group. The aim of the group was to pressure Abacha to step down and to also push for Abiola to be given his mandate. It was more like an anti-military and pro-democracy movement, but creating such a group was against the earlier warning Abacha had already given. So the group was having their meetings and everything in secret until Abacha decided to pick all of them up. The few unlucky ones were arrested while many others went into hiding in order not to be arrested. That was how they came up with an escape route known as the NADECO route. Tinubu also took that route to run away from Nigeria.
The president of now also went to that route.
Tinubu went through that route?
Went to that route, yes, to escape with a what is it called now? This thing that Muslims wrap around their head, you know. Lawa near the turban.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to disguise when they were looking for him.
Most of the politicians then who were against Abacha escaped and went into exile through the same NADECO route. And then, after Abacha mysteriously died in 1998, they all came back. That particular route has been an escape line out of Nigeria for politicians who want to escape into exile. So what does this NADECO route really look like? Back then, if you want to escape arrest and go into exile outside Nigeria, you don't have to include the airport as one of your escape strategy because security forces would have already been adequately informed about your arrival and will pick you up immediately you arrive because you are a person declared wanted by the government. And all forces will be against you because your travel documents will expose your real identity when you present them. Because even though you may disguise your face, your documents will give you all the way. So what these men were doing those days was to take that NADECO route. And this is how the route goes. From Ota in Lagos, they take a bike down to Idioroko border and through the bush from Idioroko to Benin Republic and then cross over to Togo. From Togo through the unfamiliar paths, they find their way down to Accra, Ghana. Then take a flight in Ghana to either USA or UK depending on the person's plan and destination. But apart from escaping through this route, they have also learned how to disguise and survive political hostility, especially from insight from previous military regimes. And so many years after this struggle, Tinubu began to wear this sign on his cap, along with his other APC supporters. The meaning he gave to the cap was that the sign is a mark of the shackles he went through.
The sign here, the sign on this cap is broken shackle.
The testimony of the fact that he is a political veteran and he has paid his dues for democracy. He said the sign on his cap is a testimony of resilience and aspirations that refuse to die in the sight of oppression.
In the spirit of new dawn of a renewed hope, our government understands your problems. We share your plight and identify with your aspirations. We promise you that we shall respond positively to all your needs.
Thank you for watching.